Assalamu alaikum. I was studying The Art of War by Sun Tzu, and I've come to the conclusion that you can use that book or the methods in that book to fight the nafs, to fight the ego as well. And I'll give you an example. In the Art of War, you will have something like terrain, right? And understanding that place is significant and plays a role in your enemy attacking you or even being victorious over you, right? So just as for one aspect of it, right? Let's say if you're lusting or you're looking at porn, right? And you know when you get weak, right? When you're alone, when you're laying down in your bed, right? You start to get comfortable, you're bored, and it's fun, right? Your nafs likes that, your lower desires like that. So you pull your phone out, and you start looking at porn. And I think that's why a lot of like the masters will tell you, like, don't lay down until you're tired. Until you're ready to go to sleep, just don't lay down, right? Because by understanding terrain, you know that shaitan is going to come at you and use your lower desires, your hawa, against you. And so you have to take care where you go. And it goes along with, don't let Allah see you where he told you not to be, and make sure he sees you where he told you to be, right? And that's just one example of like utilizing the principles in the Art of War and utilizing them against your own nafs and hawa, right? Because it's two sides to the same coin. If something is a principle in the physical, right, then it's a principle in the spiritual as well, because we know that the esoteric that contravenes the exoteric is a fraud, right? It has to match up, right? And so this Art of War, I see a lot of benefit in it. Like, there's just a lot you can, people might look at books like this and be like, oh, what does that have to do with today? Outside of like the historical value, and understanding Sun Tzu's genius, military or tactical genius. But the reason that I like the reason that I also like this version, right? I'll let you see this here, right? Somalia, it's a case study, right? And it gives you the case study. And the reason that I like the illustrated case study is because it's written like, or similar, I'll say. It's written similar to the 48 Laws of Power, right? Where they give you the law, right? And then they'll give you the observance of the law and the transgression of the law. So they'll cite the law, and then for people who haven't read it yet, and then they'll give you the observance of the law, where they'll give you an instance in history where when you follow that law, things turn out good. And then they'll give you an instance. What Robert Greene does in there is he gives you an instance in the transgression of the law where they went against that law, and then they ended up losing politically somehow, right? On a big scale, on a big stage. And even with The Art of War, this illustrated version is written like that, where it'll give you the law, it'll talk a little bit about, each law, and then it'll give you a case study where when you obey these laws, it works out. When you take heed to these principles, it works out, right? So I started seeing patterns that you could actually utilize those laws that are in that book and use them against the nafs and the hawa and shaitan and the dunya, because the Prophet ﷺ said your enemies are four, right? The dunya, the nafs, shaitan, and hawa, I believe it was. And when you read his tactics in that book, you can employ them against your own self, which is your greatest enemy. Your own ego, right? Your own lower desires. And so I just kind of was going through that, and it made sense, because I was thinking about a couple of examples. Unfortunately, I only have these 10-minute videos, but I'm going to do some more research on that. I thought that was interesting. I always knew that you could cross over between the physical and the spiritual using analogy, using qiyas, but with that book particularly, I didn't really look into that book like that deep, and I just did for the first time in a long time, and a couple things jumped out at me like on that tip. So I definitely want to go back over that, and I'll make another video when I come to a conclusion on that. But I thought that was interesting, right? This unification theory. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.